Greetings and welcome to the third review in our What's Smoking Hot 2020 video review series. The cigar I've chosen for this video review is the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure No. 2. And in of itself, it's not as well known, I suppose, or as hasn't received the kudos that many other worthy recipients have received throughout this year. But as the video review title suggests, it is a video review series based on what's smoking hot for me. And the last few I've had have been fantastic, and I just wanted to do a video review on this, why I've enjoyed them. I've gone ahead and lit this up, and it's just as good as dependable in the first few puffs as the last few that I've had, and I'll discuss further what's made them great for me in 2020. The Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure No. 2, what's interesting about it is that it's, well, frankly, it's about the only pre-1960 Robustos, believe it or not, that we still have today. And I'll go further into that because it seems like a really odd thing to say. You know, the 27 global brands have got a plethora of Robustos in each of their markers, it seems. And the Partagas Series D No. 4, in fact, is the #1 selling cigar for Cuban cigars in the world right now. It's usurped the Monte Cristo No. 4, the Mareva size Monte Cristo No. 4, which many of you would know that cigar. But the Hoyo Monterrey Epicure No. 2, HTM Epicure No. 2 for short, has been around, as has been its I guess its brother, the Corona Gorda size Epicure No. 1. They were around from before 1960, and the reason I guess trends have changed and there's been more Robustos since the time of the revolution in the early 60s is because Cuban cigars have changed in size. Frankly, there's the simplest way to put it, than what they used to be. They used to be a lot smaller in ring gauge and longer. Now they're much bigger in ring gauge and shorter. In fact, really until 1990, we only had the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure No. 2, the Ramona Whiteness specially selected, the Partagas Series D No. 4, and in 1989 the Cohiba Robustos joined that Vitola size. So there's only 4, and we had to wait until the early 90s, the Juan Lopez selection No. 2 to join that rank. And since then there's been some special releases. The Anahados, I think off the top of my head, the Anahados series release has seen a H. Upmann Robustos released. I think the Monte Cristo Open series has a Robustos size in it. And Robustos have really, they've taken off in terms of popularity from what they used to be. At the time that this was around, say in the 60s, the Bolivar Royal Charles, the Prince Charles, was around with the Bolivar Royal Corona. So that's another one that's been around, and they were sold simultaneously. But I can't say the Bolivar Royal Corona was around pre-60 like the Epicure No. 2 was. And they were sold in different configurations. So the Prince Charles was sold in a 50 cab offering, and the Royal Corona was sold in a 25 dress box, and that was sort of merged. And the Royal Corona continues to this day, and the Prince Charles was basically they were the same cigar, but the cigar is known as a Bolivar Royal Corona. Ramon One is specially selected. Partagas Series D number 4 have both become hugely popular in the meantime since they came out in the mid-70s. Although having said that, what's interesting about the Ramon Awanas specially selected, if you go on Cuban Cigar website, the data release for that would be the mid-70s, but to get an idea how markets used to work around the world, there was a cigar called the the Romano One especially selected in the UK, noted by Simon Chase in the late 60s, but it might have had a slightly different vitola size. Anyway, I'm going to spend this review talking about that, but needless to say, all I need to say about the Robusto size is that in the mid-80s, Simon Chase gave a video interview with Nick Wing. Search it out on YouTube. It's fantastic. There's 2 parts to it. They both go for about half an hour each. There's a lot to be gleaned from both those videos, and I can speak personally. I miss both of those fine gentlemen very much. But in that video interview, Simon Chase mentioned the Partagas Series number 4 in the mid-80s only sold 5,000 boxes worldwide. So trends change. What's popular years ago it's gone by the wayside. What's popular today, it's all changed. But the Epicure number 2 remains. And so far so good. That's just smoking fantastically. Ash is pretty much perfect. The ridges are perfect, and the ash length is ideal. And flavor wise, it's great. I'm going to smoke this down a little bit more because I am enjoying it. I'm going to discuss flavor profiles and what I'm looking for when I reach for Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 2. In general, the Hoyo de Monterrey is a lighter marker, and it's the best way to think of Hoyo de Monterrey is to think of it in 2 distinct categories: the La Jolla series and the standard Hoyo de Monterrey cigars, and they are slightly different and they have changed, and I'll discuss it further for your edification throughout this review. But for now, I'm going to leave the review there and smoke it down and discuss more about the profiles. So come back. So when you reach for Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 2, what are you looking for? I guess I can start by saying what you're not looking for is bland woodiness. When they're not on, they're just very nondescript and woody. When they're on point, you get a nice combination of cedar, light cocoa, and a vanilla malt sort of textures, or vanilla spice and malt to them. A creamy texture to them, and they're just brilliant cigars. If you're fortunate enough to have a box where they're like that, they tend to be like that one after the other. The reason I chose this cigar in the What's Smoking Hot 2020 video review series is that I catalog my cigars and I rate them on my inventory on Cuban Cigar website, and I accidentally, I guess, noticed that my last 3 or 4 or 5 were like 5 out of 5 in rating, and I sort of worked that out by accident. And when I went into my notes on the cigar, I noticed that they were all, basically creamy and had a vanilla malt to them that I really love and adore. This Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 2 is not the same box code, sadly. That was those 4 or 5 were from ABO June 2018 box code, if you have that box code. This one is from a slightly earlier BUP March 2018 box code, and it's still got a nice creamy texture and vanilla malt essence to it, but slightly more cedar and cocoa to it. Look, at least it's not bland and woody, which I know that they've been like that in the past for me. Uh, uh, so I'm grateful that this Epicure number 2, it's still smoking very well. I've gone through to the the second third now, and in comparison to this ABA June 2018, they were a stellar exemplary. This is certainly above average to excellent. So I'm satisfied with it, and I've got I think about 4 or 5 of them left. But I have ordered some more Epicure number 2s because they've just been smoking great for me. Now, I did mention earlier on in this review that the Hoyo de Monterrey series can be thought of as having 2 distinct categories, the La Hoyo line and the standard line. Now, in general, the difference between those cigars, and it has changed, so bear with me as I explain it. It's changed in the La Hoyo line because the La Hoyo line had a lot more longer and skinny cigars, such as the De Gourmet and the Duroy, and the one cigar that has one of the highest reputations on our forum, which is a Dedu. And they were known when they were younger for being full of body, full of flavour, more woody when they were younger, and having forest floor type flavours, perhaps like a mushroom. But as they aged, the cream element to them would come out, and they ended up being just fantastic cigars, but you had to age them. Now, some recent La Hoyo cigars, and one of them I'll be reviewing in this video review series, that's the Rio Seco, which is a large 56 ring gauge cigar, and the 2014 cigar, the De Son 1, which is 54 ring gauge. Perhaps not so much the De Son 1, but certainly the Rio Seco has lived up to the recent reputation of Cuban cigars smoking well much younger. It's certainly true of the Rio Seco, but I'll say that for that review. But the standard Hoyo de Monterrey cigars, such as the Epicure number 1 and Epicure number 2, double Corona, still continue to be quality offerings when they're on, for being lighter, having that creamy texture, having that light cocoa, light cedar, much younger. But having said that, the Rio Seco certainly has elements of that in its youth. Since that cigar came out in 2018. This is, as I reflect on it now and I'm smoking it, I've come about the halfway point, and when the Epicure 2, when it doesn't do it for me, as I said, it's bland and woody. It can have some spice to it. There's no spice at this on this at all. But having said that, with Hoyo de Monterrey, if you get a spice, you can get them with a sweet spice like that aforementioned vanilla or the cinnamon, or more savoury where it's more like clove spice, and that's not a bad thing. That's quite a nice flavour that you can get out of the Hoyo Monterrey cigars. But this hasn't got sort of any savoury clove spice or spice to it. And I'm just pushing the bands back a little bit. It's smoking very, very well. The ridges is on point, and to me the ash length is fine. I've only ashed it once, so I'm pretty happy with it so far. I'll smoke it down and come back when I smoke it down into the middle third and give my concluding thoughts. So I've taken the bands off and I'm approaching the final third, and one thing I can say is Hoyo de Monterrey, I mentioned it before, it's a light brand in the amongst the 27 Habanos brands. And look, it's not everyone's cup of tea. For some people, they just don't connect with Hoyo de Monterrey because of the lightness. And I like to think of it when they're on. It's more of a subtle cigar. So that's really what you're looking for if you're into this. You're looking for a lighter cigar with those nuanced flavors, in my opinion. And it's certainly very, very easy to smoke. This is 2.5 years old right now, and in terms of discussing aging, I'm not inclined to need to do that. If I compare some of the older Hoyo de Monterrey sticks that I've got in my humidor, such as the Dedu or the discontinued De Prince, I'm certainly more inclined to want to. I have some from 2014, 2015 of those sticks. I'm happy to leave them to age longer because they're more dominant, more in those wood and clove spice and forest floor flavors at the moment. But for what I can expect out of an Epicure number 2, this has certainly gratified me today. And I'm glad I have a few sticks left. And I'm looking forward to replenishing my stocks at some point soon with a few more sticks. So in regards to other Robustos, look, I would safely say that most aficionados would smoke definitely more of the Partagas Series D number 4 and the Cohiba Robustos and the One selection, One Lopez selection number 2, more than the Epicure number 2. But just for my preferences, this is a nice option for me when I want a lighter cigar. It's still smoking really well, and construction-wise, it's been really on point. And the ash has been, again, it's been very, very consistent. Again, I hope you've enjoyed this review. Thank you again for your company, and I hope you enjoyed the review. Happy smoking, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.